Hey everybody, welcome. We're Basic Liches. We are two D&D Dungeon Masters trying to play Pathfinder 2nd Edition for the first time. Welcome to this series where we're going over every class in the core rulebook of Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Today, we're going to be going over the Ranger class.
This video is going to be a basic impressions of the Ranger class. We're going to go over some of its core mechanics at level 1. We're going to give you an exciting day in the life of a Ranger. And we're going to have some Game Master tips if you got a Ranger at the table.
Again, a reminder that this is not going to be a deep dive in the class. We're not going from 1 to 20, and we're also just going over core rulebook options.
No advanced player guide stuff here.
Well, if Rangers are weird in games like this, what do we have to expect when playing a Ranger?
The Ranger is one of the most difficult classes to get right in any tabletop role-playing game. People expect different things from the Ranger. Some people want the Beastmaster, other people want to be the Monster Hunter. Then there's people that expect to be really good with bows and arrows and crossbows, but you're also like the Wilderness Master. It covers a lot of area. Sometimes it doesn't always do all of those things particularly well. In Pathfinder 2e, the Ranger is a strange brew of fighting, archery, nature, and dog poop.
Bring the baggies.
So, Kamo, if you're looking to pop culture for some inspiration, what you got?
Obviously, the biggest inspiration from Lord of the Rings is Aragorn, because he's going to lead our way. He is going to guide us on our path, on our long journey across the countryside to where we're going. We're going to hunt down the Nazgul. He's going to choose his targets wisely along our path and probably avoid the things that we don't want to encounter, right? And then before he finds Neo, obviously, Morpheus is a Ranger because he's searching for the one. His sole purpose is to hunt down the ones that we can put an end
To the machines. And the Matrix is his favorite domain.
Yes, this Matrix is his favorite domain.
I'm sorry, his favorite terrain.
Yes. Yep.
I'm thinking of the Predator. Yes, the evil alien from the Predator movies. He's like the ultimate Ranger. So the Predators, their whole thing is that they want to become the apex hunters of the galaxy. All they do is hunt stuff that they think is worthy opponents. And when they kill them, they take their ideas, they take their technology, and they get better at hunting and tracking. In Predators, with an S, they actually have these dog-like creatures that they use to flush out their prey.
Animal companions.
They got animal companions. I have the other low-hanging fruit for the Ranger class, and that is Dar from Beastmaster. Trained by his adoptive father to handle a sword and his little flying boomerang knife thing called like a kappa or a kaba. He has an uncanny, he basically has a magical ability to talk to animals, but he uses them for cool different things. He gets saved out of quicksand by ferrets. He uses a ferret to steal a girl's top while she's swimming naked for some reason.
Sounds like an 80s movie scene.
Yep. Yes, we'll leave it at that.
Let's take a look at some of the mechanics for the Ranger. Here is a list of proficiencies of what we're trained in and what we're experts in. As Rangers, our key attribute is going to be dexterity, and perhaps strength sometimes.
Just dual wield with a couple of arrows. The first key term that the book wants us to understand is flourish. What's a flourish? Well, in Pathfinder 2e, that means if you're using a feat that has the flourish trait, you can only use one of them per round when you're attacking.
Then we've got open. If you're using a feat with the open trait, then it has to be the first action in your turn and no others.
And then we have press, which is the opposite of open.
Closed?
Yes, press. So if you have a feat with the press trait, you have to have attacked first before you can use that feat. Otherwise, no pressy for you.
Then we're going to get a Ranger class feature called Hunt Prey. With Hunt Prey, we're going to designate a single creature as our prey, and it has to be something that we're seeing or hearing or currently tracking. We're going to get a +2 circumstance bonus to perception checks or survival checks to track this creature, and we're also going to ignore the penalty from our long-range attacks.
That second long-range distance.
Against that creature. You can only be hunting one prey at a time, so you can switch between hunting prey. If you're hunting one thing, then decide you're hunting something different, you can do that during the day. But it only lasts until your next daily preparation.
The next feature that is unique to the Ranger class are the Hunter's Edges. At level 1, there are 3 to choose from, and what you choose, you're going to be stuck with for the remainder of your campaign.
It's almost like a subclass. It's a very weak subclass.
Not really. Your first Hunter's Edge is called Flurry, and this is going to let you get multiple attacks on your hunted prey. Instead of having a -5 modifier for your second attack of the turn, it's going to be a -3. And instead of a -10, it'll actually be a -6. And if you're using agile weapons, it'll be a -2 and a -4.
Yeah.
Yay,
cool.
we got it right.
We did it.
Really cool. Makes you want to attack all the time and just unleash fury on those hunted prey. Next up, we have Precision. This is you targeting those tasty little vital organs and weak spots on your hunted prey. The first time you attack during the round, you're going to deal an additional 1d8 damage. And when you level up, I think at like level 17, something, this increases. You get to do more
Another
damage.
die?
You get to do another, it's the first and second round, and then it does, at level 20, it goes up again. It's a little different.
Cool. Okay.
So you get super duper powerful way late in the game.
But an extra D8 at level 1 is nice.
Super nice. The final Hunter's Edge that we have is called Outwit. This is going to be the non-combat Hunter's Edge. What this will let you do is you're going to get a +2 circumstance bonus to Deception, Intimidate, Stealth, and Recall knowledge checks against your hunted prey. On top of that, your AC is going to be improved by 1 versus the attacks from your hunted prey. So you get a little bit beefier against them.
What does this class feel like to play in a day of adventuring? Before we get to that, don't forget to snipe the subscribe button to Basic Glitches and Toll the Dead for notifications.
Please drop us a comment on this video. Let us know what you think of the Ranger at level 1. Let us know if Outwit is useful. Let us know your favorite Rangers in pop culture. Let us know. Let us know.
Let us know. We're a ranger. We wake up and there's something about the food in this town that really just upsets our stomach. Maybe it's all the frying they do. And we go hunt our breakfast. Maybe we snipe a few rabbits, come back and make some rabbit patties, maybe a rabbit McMuffin. And
Maple scissor.
we have no idea where everyone is. We have a perfumed handkerchief that belongs to the bard. We're going to use that to kind of track down our bard. I mean, no one else in town wears this crap, and God, I can smell it a mile away. It leads us right to him. We're going to figure out what our plans are for the day.
Our friends inform us that we've received a quest from the local fishermen. Apparently there is a harpy youngling that is attacking fishermen on the local river in the nearby valley. While this exchange between fishermen and our party is going on, a nearby Fletcher overhears and he wants in on the action. He tells us he will pay good money for some harpy bones. He says they're hollow, lightweight, and incredibly sturdy and durable. They make the best arrows. So we now have 2 quests that will pay quite a bit of money.
Might get some harpy arrows out of the deal.
The morning fog parts and it's time for us to leave town. We are now in the wild, the wilderness, our domain.
Thank you, Game Master, for making me feel
It's our
useful.
time to shine! We immediately begin tracking this harpy by making some survival checks. After a few successful checks, we discover that the harpy's nest must be in the cliff sides of the valley. And now that we're tracking it, even though we can't see it or hear it, we can designate it as our hunted prey.
So we're searching the cliffside for a couple hours along the bottom, and we come up to this ledge, and from the ledge we can just see the makings of a nest hanging over. And we think this might be the harpy's nest. So we send our owl Birdo up to check things out, gives us a few hoots without warning, and we see him fly up there. It's pretty quiet, no reaction. He quickly comes back and he brings us a couple of fish bones. We feed a mouse to Birdo for a job well done, and we've kind of deciphered that the baby harpy's not home. I think it's time to go check the river, make sure it's not causing mayhem.
To the river!
We rush down to the river in hopes of preventing another harpy attack, but we're too late. We see a bunch of fishing boats on the water and the unmistakable silhouette of a harpy diving down at its prey. Combat ensues, and we need to be careful not to harm any fishermen and to save as many as we can.
The time to take down our prey is upon us. We grab our bow and arrow, we knock an arrow, and even though we're incredibly far away, we get to ignore that second range because this is our hunted prey. We let loose an arrow, and this thing glides through the air and strikes the, until previously unaware harpy, didn't know about our presence, and hits this thing in its tendon neck. The arrowhead bites down and deals 1d8 extra damage. On the following turn, we get to send in our owl companion, Birdo. Fly, Birdo, fly! Scratch your face! What Birdo gets to do is use its support action. And while it does that, we are going to be dealing 1d4 persistent bleed damage on all of our attacks that Birdo assists on. While the rest of our party is helping out the fishermen, they're rescuing them, getting them to safety, we use Recall Knowledge on the harpy and we learn about its captivating song ability. We recall this bit of information and we shout out to the rest of the party, "Cover your ears with anything that you can and don't listen to its song!" We knock one final arrow in our bow and let loose, and we deal some fatal damage, taking down the harpy once and for all. The fishermen are safe. Some of them have died, some of them we've rescued. Hey, we ain't perfect. We take some time to fillet the harpy and get as many of its bones as we can.
We'd head back to the village to collect in on our rewards. Maybe we get some sweet harpy arrows out of the deal. Party decides to celebrate at the inn, but we feel a lot more comfortable partying it with the donkey in the stables. Yeehaw.
Good night. We're going to get to the part of the video where we make assumptions. That always goes over well on YouTube. Pros, cons of the Ranger class. Here we go.
Of course, these assumptions are based on a level 1 character and our basic understanding of tabletop gaming.
As we're going through these classes, it seems like every single one of them in Pathfinder has sort of a core class ability. The Ranger is no different. You get that hunt-prey ability, and I kind of like how the class is sort of built around that, and you get to choose all the feats that you want to sort of mold your own Ranger. So like the other martial classes that we've recently covered, the Fighter and the Monk, there's no subclasses, so you really have to just build the Ranger that you want to build. Do you want an animal companion? Take that feat. Do you want to recall knowledge and know all about the monsters and enemies? Take the Monster Hunter feat.
Really seems like they built this class to be a good single target attacker. We get some benefits to our accuracy, benefits to damage versus one target. And what's kind of cool, also a pro for this class, is that our animal companion is also going to get our Hunter's Edge benefits when we have that, which is really kind of cool.
All right, perceived cons at level 1 for the Ranger class. What do you got?
I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the Outwit Hunter's Edge. It seems kind of like the way for this class to jump into something that's not combat. That's appreciated, but it's not as good as something like an Anathema. And still, I couldn't find anything that would allow you to take like multiple Hunter's Edges benefits, kind of like the fighter is able to take multiple fighting styles. Like the Druid is able to dip into each of their subclasses. Didn't find anything like that, so we're kind of on the straight and narrow with this class, with our 5e beginner's subclass choice.
I'm not wholly convinced that this class needs to exist. Again, I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the Ranger is always in a hard place in tabletop role-playing games. I think you could probably make something interesting that fits a lot of these purposes with a fighter. If you've made like a Ranger character using fighter and all the feats, let us know. Let us know in the comments if that's possible, if my intuition is correct. So much of this class is all about doing damage to a single target or hunting or tracking something. I feel like if the sessions are more social, or if you're not specifically tracking something or doing something out in the wilderness, I feel like you could just be like, I'm kind of useless this session. And that's not specific to Pathfinder. That's sort of like a Ranger issue across the board in most TTRPGs.
So what types of players do we think are going to love playing the Ranger?
I think the player that is the glory seeker will have a great time with this Ranger class. If you're the person that wants to take down the boss, or you want to use recall knowledge all the time, or just be like super helpful while surviving and exploring the wilderness. You're like, haha, like I'm keeping us all alive right now.
Yeah, the boss killer is going to have a fun time with the ranger, doing some great single target damage. The newbie is going to have an easy time with this. It's a pretty simple class to understand. And also the monster know-it-all, someone who wants to know every weakness in every monster they encounter and share that info with the party. I think for the difficulty of play in the ranger, this class earns a 1 out of 5. Definitely at near the skill level of the fighter without needing to remember all of the feats that the fighter needs to have. Ranger is the perfect first level, perfect beginner class.
I completely agree. The only thing that adds a little tiny wrinkle in there is if you have an animal companion, you have to look up on the page on the animal stats and how those work. There's a little bit more rules, but very, very simple.
Can even have your GM do it. All right, Game Masters, you got a ranger at your table. We're going to help you out a little bit. Here's what we're thinking.
This is going to sound a little on the nose, very basic advice, but make sure that your ranger has stuff to do. Give them quests that are in their wheelhouse. Make sure that there is something for them to track, something for them to go out into the wilderness and hunt. Give them a reason to do that. Not every session, not every part of the arc of your campaign, but every now and then, let them do their thing.
Much like the druid, this is a wilderness class, so we're going to need those same opportunities.
I tend to view rangers as people that probably love animals more than they like humans, people, whatever is inhabiting Galarian. So make sure that there are some animals for your players to fall in love with, that they can sort of become friends with. And even if they don't take that animal companion feat, they're just sort of around and there's something that's like part of what you do. Give your rangers the ability to learn recipes and craft new weapons and snares, stuff that they're kind of good at, what the book tells you that they should be doing. Take it one step further and go full monster hunter. Let them sort of discover recipes where they're like, oh, if you kill these 3 monsters, you can make this really cool armor set. So it gives them a reason to be like, oh, hey guys, like during my downtime, I'm going to go hunt these creatures down so I can try to make this cool armor. I think that stuff is pretty dope.
Rangers at my table, archers at my table are typically going to get some kind of theater of the mind interaction with their long range. I love to help them utilize this. They'll pop a few shots before the party goes in, or they'll set it up where the ranger is on a sniper perch and the rest of the party is down fighting. And maybe it takes an extra turn for them to just come into the battle if they want to. But I love creating some distance for that ranger because we have skills for it. We have, there's ways to use this.
As players coming from Dungeons and Dragons, it's only natural for us to compare the 5e Ranger to the Pathfinder Ranger.
There's not much to compare to when we're talking about 5th edition because 5th edition Ranger is a very strange thing. It's a good single target archer damage dealer with a few druid spells. They're kind of very strange and they have very situational skills and abilities. And for that reason, I'm out. For that reason, Pathfinder's got a little bit of an edge on this. I'm really hoping that the choosing of feats is going to really flush out our ranger in a better way than 5th edition ever could. Please tell us your ranger builds. I want to hear about them. At first level, at first glance, it looks a little better than 5th edition in the way that it's built. I do like that we're not magical. I guess the Advanced Player's Guide tries to add a little bit of warden spells and kind of focus points to this. Because, one of my issues with the Pathfinder Ranger is that it's lacking from the rest of the classes still in comparison. Because, Ranger is lacking in comparison to other 5th edition classes. And, again, Ranger is lacking in Pathfinder classes to the other classes. It still feels like it's missing something.
Yep.
It's upsetting to see some of these classes get things like anathemas, where they're going to have some backstory focus. And that's going to keep coming up through the campaign, and things like the fighter and now ranger are not going to have that.
Nor the monk.
The
last 3 have been the same.
Yeah.
Yes, like the fighter, like the monk, you have to choose the feats that sort of create your subclass for you. The game's not doing that. It's not giving you any direction. The hunter's edges sort of do that in a teeny tiny way. But at the end of the day, I'm still struggling to see why this class exists in all role-playing games.
I don't doubt that the Ranger in either system is effective. Like, they hit things, they do damage, it feels good when you do that. Mm-hmm. But everything else, all the other skills being so situational, is not fun for anyone. Not fun for the Dungeon Master or Game Master or the players, because we're forcing these situations that wouldn't have happened otherwise. They may have just been hand-waved if the Ranger hadn't even been there. Things like hunting things down and the exploration, survival checks. Yeah, it's just like the Ranger's the only one doing these checks. We're going to wait 10 minutes, 15 minutes while we search, hunt, do Ranger things, and then we get back to our regular scheduled program.
I kind of feel like Pathfinder does fix some of the situational things, especially as you level up and you get to choose more feats, but I'm still not entirely sold on existence. I kind of wish Paizo had nixed it from the core rulebook and given us something weirder, like the Oracle or the Witch or something, I don't know. I think the animal companions are really well done in this. Completely kills 5e, and that alone is the only thing that makes me sort of interested in playing this.
You
because
gotta have a pet.
I love having the pet class, and if I'm playing like World of Warcraft or any video game, if I'm a necromancer, I'm getting all my skellies.
That was the point of the hunter in WoW.
Yeah.
You know?
Or the warlock, you got all your little familiar guys.
Yeah.
So I think they really nailed how the animal companion works. Just looking at it briefly, we were like, holy shit, this is a million times better than 5e. But that's not what 5e was trying to do with the Beastmaster. They were trying to make a support class, and people were like, it sucks in combat. Be like, yeah, of course it does. It's not what it was designed to do. And that's it for this week's video, where we cover the basic impressions of the Pathfinder 2e Ranger. Let us know if you agree with us. Let us know if you disagree or if we messed anything up. Again, we are new to Pathfinder. Tune in next week. We're going to be dropping that Rogue Basic Impressions video.
Check out the Basic Impressions series here. Also got another Pathfinder video over there. Thanks for watching, guys. Later, Liches.
Bye!